Growing up sucks, but growing up is also kind of cool. On one hand, you get to drive cars, drink beer, kiss girls, and other super cool, awesome adult things. But on the other, there's bills and taxes and going to work every day. Like sometimes I wake up like, damn, I gotta go to work again. Like 5 days a week seems a bit excessive now. It's the age-old tale of the grass always being greener on the other side. As a kid, you couldn't wait to grow up because maybe you tried to get GTA 5 when you were 13, but the GameStop employee was a snitch and told your mom about the vanilla unicorn and how you may or may not be able to get a lap dance from a 3D animated stripper. Like, no mom, I'm trying to break into a military base to steal a fighter jet so I can commit acts of terror in downtown Los Santos. But as you get older, you start trying to hold on to your youth as much as you possibly can because me and the boys can't stay up to 3 a.m. playing Minecraft anymore because we have work in the morning. FLCL, or Fully Cooley, is a show that perfectly encapsulates that struggle. Now, there have already been a bunch of video essays and commentaries analyzing and breaking down every single frame and detail of this show. People have talked about the animation, the characters, the design choices, the music, and for good reason. This is a show that says a lot while saying nothing at all at the same time, and there's a reason why it speaks to so many people. But this isn't an analysis or even a review of FLCL. My name is Suburban Will, and I'm just here to tell you why Fully Cooley is one of the greatest shows of all time. Fully Cooley is often thought of as a coming-of-age story. It follows Naoto Nandaba, a 12-year-old suburban kid living in the city of Mabase, and he often complains that nothing interesting happens here. His life is boring, mundane, and monotonous, and like a lot of 12-year-olds, he's obsessed with growing up and being mature. Again, Naoto, I promise you, it is not all it's cracked up to be. Have you heard of student loans, my guy? This all changes when he meets Haruko Haruhara, who proceeds to hit him in the head and then run him over with her Vespa. And this will be among the least interesting things to happen to him throughout the time Haruko is in Mabase, as it sets in motion the events of the entire show. Throughout FLCL, Naoto interacts with a variety of characters, mostly female, who impact and influence his life in many ways, and although this masterpiece is only 6 episodes, there is a remarkable amount of development for all of these characters presented in just under 3 hours of actual content. But while most YouTube videos about Fully Cooley center around Naoto's relationship relative to these characters and try to explain to you why it is bad to be emotionally manipulated and used by the women in your life, that is a lesson I already learned the hard way in college. I want to talk about Naoto himself, or rather you, the viewer. FLCL is an amazing show with a lot of symbolism, references, and obvious but still appreciated sexual innuendo, but Naoto's own perspective is the most important when it comes to the messages found in the show. It's important to understand the other characters and their significance, but ultimately FLCL is Naoto's story, and he is the one who makes all of the action happen. Nothing happens in this show without him on the screen. It's through his eyes that we get to understand the concept of maturity, or as the anime likes to call it, Fully Cooley. Now at this point you might be wondering, what the hell does Fully Cooley even mean? And trust me, it took me some time to understand that myself, but it's one of the central themes throughout the show. It's the way the show describes the process of growing up and maturing, moving from a kid who's ignorant of the world around them and is prone to making mistakes, Fully, into an adult who's well-adjusted, composed, and mature, Cooley. But Naoto finds that most of the adults in his life also don't fit the description of Cooley either. They're all strange individuals plagued with their own obsessions and shortcomings, which leaves Naoto conflicted but still wanting to be grown up anyway because he has an older brother he admires greatly, and that is an adult that he considers to be Cooley. And this, my friends, is one of the first big lessons people tend to learn as they grow up, that even adults don't have their shit together. And if you're fortunate enough to have your parents in your life, you see this a lot in your teenage years. As you begin to grow up, eventually becoming an adult yourself, you start to see your parents as more and more human. When you're a kid, they're almost like superheroes. They seem to know the answer to every question, the solution to every problem. You almost never see them in any moments of weakness. They look pretty Cooley. Then you grow up and realize that your parents are ultimately just some people who managed to bring you into this world, and that they themselves are flawed just as you are. And it can be jarring, but at the same time, it's that first big step to realizing that adulthood isn't about having it all together. But if that's the case, what does it mean to be mature? Episode 4 of Fully Cooley, titled Full Swing, is my favorite episode of the 6 because it introduces what I consider to be the single most important line in the entire anime. Nothing can happen until you swing the bat. The creator himself even considers this to be a central tenet of the show, and it's one of its core messages. This episode, like others, is extremely chaotic, but the message is arguably the clearest one out of all the episodes of FLCL. It opens with a baseball game, fitting for its title and overall theme, and Naoto steps up to the plate, and he strikes out several times. But what causes the most frustration for his team is the fact that he doesn't even try to swing his bat. Not even once. This episode is also unlike others because it doesn't really focus on Naoto's relationships with other people, and instead shows him for the first time faced with his own emotions and internal conflict on his own. My boy takes several L's in this one. Losing a baseball game and having those around you be disappointed in your performance, watching the girl he has feelings for be with someone else. Also, real quick, I would just like to add that I was in a dorm room with very thin walls when I watched this episode, and it was very difficult And I mean very difficult to explain to the people outside my door that heard this part that I was in fact not watching hentai. And I don't think they believe me. So do yourself a favor and put on some headphones when you watch this part, please. And also being faced with his own community being placed in mortal danger. This is an episode particularly about the emotional aspect of maturity and dealing with the shittier side of growing up, because I think as much as it sucks, we get the most of our growth through failure. In Fully Coolly, swinging the bat itself is an allegory for the most important lesson to learn when it comes to growing up: taking the initiative. In FLCL, a bat is more than just something you hit things with. It's a catalyst. It sets things in motion. Just like Haruko hitting Naoto over the head with her bat sets in motion the entire plot for the show in the first episode. Nothing can happen until you swing the bat, meaning that nothing in life happens unless you take the initiative to make it happen. When you're a kid, you don't swing your own bat very often. Usually someone else does it for you, like your parents, for example. They make you go to school, maybe put you in some sports or extracurricular activities. Other people in your life make decisions for you because they are responsible for your well-being. They are the ones swinging your bat for you, and as you get older and start taking on responsibility for yourself, whoever's been swinging your bat for you starts to ease up little by little, until eventually you're an adult and you have to make that first big decision, like deciding on whether you want to go to college or not after high school. It can be scary because naturally the question is, what if I miss? What if I strike out? Your parents made it seem so easy, effortlessly swinging the bat every time. But now you're the one to step up to the plate and you feel like you don't know what to do, especially if in like now it's a situation it seems almost impossible. And that fear of failure sometimes makes it so that we'd rather not swing our bat at all. But just like in the beginning of the episode, in life, you're gonna strike out a lot. You're gonna put yourself out there and get shot down a lot. You're gonna apply for that job and you're not gonna get it. You're gonna ask out that person you like and they're gonna reject you. You're gonna try out for that team and you're not gonna make the cut, and it's gonna suck and it's gonna be disappointing and you might even cry. But that's what maturity is all about, because even though you struck out, what matters is that you swung the bat. No one can ever knock you for trying, and trying is the first step to succeeding. And this episode is so powerful because swinging the bat is all about taking risks. As an adult, you realize that success is never guaranteed, and that oftentimes you'll fail before you succeed, but what matters is that you never stop swinging your bat, because nothing can happen until you swing the bat. It's a struggle between what you want versus what you have to do to get it. If you sit around waiting for things to happen to you, you have no say in the outcome. Just like Naoto didn't think he had a choice in whether the satellite destroyed the city or not. But if you get up and take the initiative, you can actually have the power of choice in your life. The lesson is that if you want more out of your life, you need to swing your bat instead of waiting for something to happen to you. The amount of times an opportunity just falls into your lap as an adult is almost never. It takes some kind of action to get something amazing started, and just like Haruko, when others see you trying to make something happen, they're inclined to help you along the way. You are the one in charge of your life, and the only person who can make your dreams come true is you, because nothing can happen until you swing the bat. Now this video is getting long, I know, but let me cook, because if there's one thing FLCL is known best for, it's how crazy every single episode is. Brother, when you watch this shit, I'm telling you, you will be like, what the hell did I actually just see? Is that a South Park reference? What is going on? I think the biggest question any sane person asks when watching the fever dream that is Fully Coolly is why? Why is this show only 6 episodes? Why is the animation so damn good? Why won't she text me back? She's been asleep for 14 hours. Maybe she's just really tired. But I think that's the point. When you're a kid, you don't know anything about the world around you. So naturally, you start trying to make sense of it by asking people who are older and more experienced than you. Why is the sky blue? Why does it rain? Why is Zach Wilson in the NFL? But as you get older, these questions get harder to answer. And instead of asking, why don't girls have balls? You're asking, why do my friends' parents sleep in separate beds? And as you continue to mature, there become less and less people in your life who have the experience and perspective to answer all of these whys in life, until you reach adulthood and you realize that there's no one left to answer the questions you really want the answer to. So instead, you have to live your life and get those answers for yourself. But even still, there are some of these whys that can't be answered no matter how much you look for it. Maturity is understanding and accepting that in life, some things just are the way that they are. Like the fact that someone looked at Zach Wilson and thought that this man was fit to be an NFL quarterback, which is just... Science is still trying to figure that one out. You can spend the rest of your life trying to find the answer to that one why, but if you do that, you may miss out on all the other questions that actually can be answered. FLCL's craziness is a representation of that chaos that exists in life, all of the questions that we can't answer. And if you focus on every little thing that throws you off in this show, you might end up missing out on the amazing animation, characters, and story that make this show the banger that it is. Lastly, I want to talk about FLCL's final message, and that's the perpetuity of time and growth, because one of the realest parts about growing up is that everybody's got to do it at some point. Time doesn't stop, and neither should you, so wake your ass up. It's time to chase a bag. After everything is all said and done, Mabase was left in a state of destruction in the wake of Naoto and Haruko's fight. But during the epilogue, everyone's just kind of gotten over it and it's doing their own thing. That's maturity. There will be many things in life that seem to turn your world upside down, but the more you grow up, the more you realize how fleeting these moments are, for better or worse. You can have something truly feel like the end of the world when you're younger, only to look back on it a few months later and realize it really wasn't. Another side of this is the changing nature of relationships and how some people may be the most important person in your life, but only momentarily. And maturity is understanding this and allowing people to be free, and also allowing yourself to be free. And while those people may be gone from our lives, they always leave behind a piece of themselves that you'll never forget, like Haruko leaving her bat behind for Naoto to hang on to. Coolly makes adults seem unfazed by adversity in their lives, but really growing up is about understanding that all moments are just that, a moment, and that you have more life to live on the other side of it. Sure, it may seem like the city we live in is about to be destroyed right now, but one day this will just be a memory. So we should take the time to appreciate the moments we have and the people present in our lives right now, because life keeps going and we have to keep moving along with it. And those are the lessons that make Fooly Cooly a truly golden anime. I think that this is a great show to watch when you're in a spot where you feel stuck in life, just like Naoto. And it's a piece of art I constantly revisit because it just always speaks to me in ways I never knew a show could. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and leave a comment because I read every single one of them. And if you're goated with the sauce, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Louis.